Series sell ready-made conflicts, resolved in 40 minutes, and we begin to desire equally edited scripts for our biographies. We turn social media into a resume of smiles, where the gauge of worth is liked or ignored in seconds. Each little heart that blinks trains us to be pleasing, to play it safe, to smooth the edges. How can we step out of the line of mediocrity if that line feeds us constant crumbs of digital approval? In the job market, the blow changes its name but not its strategy. There it's called achievable goals, career plans, KPIs. They say boldness is only valuable up to the point it doesn't threaten the structure. They complain you think too big right after hanging a poster on the wall proclaiming think big. They want your brilliance, but in regulated brightness. You comply, of course. You adjust the focus of your own dreams so as not to overshadow anyone. And little by little, you forget what it was like to see in high resolution. Notice how mediocrity doesn't shout. It whispers precisely when pain arises. After 3 failures, it advises, maybe it's not your talent. In a lukewarm relationship, it whispers, better this than being alone. When your clothes no longer fit because inactivity has won, it assures it's just age. It has 1,000 reasonable arguments, ready statistics, motivational memes, and even quotes from philosophers taken out of context to prove that giving up your greatness is just maturity. But there's a nagging discomfort that won't yield. Just a second of silence before drifting off to sleep is enough to hear a competing whisper, your own soul. It reminds you that you have felt your pulse race at the sight of a new idea, that you have imagined impacting the world beyond your paycheck. It recalls the euphoria of the first time you ran without looking back, of the first song you composed, of the first text you wrote without thinking of metrics. This whisper doesn't accuse, it invites, and each time you postpone it, you weaken a bit of your vital impulse. The generation that sent rockets to the moon, invented the internet, and deciphered the human genome was born of people who refused to be mediocre. They were considered idealists, restless, inconvenient. They were people who stumbled into laboratories late into the night, wrote manifestos in basements, and spent their voices in public squares. There were no ready-made manuals or guaranteed pay. There was only an inner flame, so uncomfortable that it would be impossible to extinguish without burning the purpose of existence alongside it. Recognizing you've been fooled is painful. Deciding to reverse the blow is even more so. Because fighting against mediocrity requires swimming against an entire river of external expectations, some stamped on the faces of loved ones. It requires training the muscles of courage daily, getting up earlier to study something no one is demanding, saying no to a well-paying job that drains your essence, choosing friends whose vocabulary includes impossible dreams. It means swapping the anesthetic of distraction for the vivid discomfort of presence. Prepare yourself. Deconstructing mediocrity makes noise. Some will pull away, uncomfortable with your questions. Others will try to convince you that this is all an exaggeration, that real life isn't like that. The world will call what, inside you, is called the thirst for fullness arrogance. When this happens, remember that mediocrity prefers company. If you move above the average, you become an uncomfortable mirror for those who have settled. Stay the course. Start small, but start. Read books that challenge your intellectual comfort zone, not just those that confirm your opinions. Write the story you've always rehearsed but never found the time for. Take courses that don't automatically convert into certificates but expand your consciousness instead. Try a hobby where you feel like a beginner again to relearn the joy of making big mistakes and laughing about it. Set aside daily minutes for silence. In that interval, negotiate with your courage, not your fear. Over time, you will realize that greatness is not a brightly lit stage, but a discipline of upright posture. It's not about surpassing others, but about repeatedly overcoming yourself. It's looking back and seeing paths opened where only weeds existed, stories told where only potential lay. It's inspiring others not through the perfection of the outcome, but through the honesty of the effort. Greatness is a resilient virus. Its mere presence encourages more people to escape the laboratory of mediocrity. Here's the truth that doesn't fit into slogans. Living intensely is dangerous. You will fail publicly, lose friends, fall flat more than once, and you might wonder why the hell you didn't stay in the warm, comfortable room of normalcy. But at the same time, you will resonate with the authentic frequency of someone who knows in their guts that they are truly alive. You will lay your head on the pillow exhausted, scratched but whole, and say, "Today I didn't betray myself." In the end, the question isn't whether the world needs more visionary geniuses or Hollywood heroes. The world urgently needs whole people, those who refuse to reduce existence to performance spreadsheets. When someone breaks the mold, they open fissures through which light enters. You can be one of those divine cracks, reminding everyone that it is still worth dreaming bigger than the ceiling they've given us. So, tear up the manual that celebrates the average. Scribble a twisted, vibrant drawing over the straight line. Ask questions that even the experts can't answer, and be willing to pay the price for seeking answers. Embrace causes so grand that they barely fit within your name. When fear screams it's too late, respond with the boldness of someone who knows that time is raw material, not a sentence. Because ultimately, the greatest blow hasn't been the imposition of visible chains. It's been the offering of invisible handcuffs made of lukewarm praise and second-hand dreams. Tear them down. Rise to the extraordinary life that your inner voice has always known is possible. And when they ask how you dared, smile and say, "I discovered that mediocrity was the blow, and I decided not to be complicit." Now it's your turn to choose. A selfie in the line of the content, or a subscriber to your epic. Be honest with yourself. If the answer still beats in your chest, something within you has already started to break the shell of mediocrity. Feed that spark. Protect it from the wind of cynicism. Let it grow until it becomes a fire. Because the world and you cannot afford another wasted life on the altar of the average. When did you accept, without realizing it, that being adequate was enough? Perhaps it happened in a school hallway when they praised your good grades more than your curiosity. Maybe it was during your first internship when you heard, "That's not how it's done here." Or during Sunday lunch when a well-meaning relative summarized life as getting a stable job, buying a car, getting married, and not being a headache. At some point along this journey, they surgically implanted in you, without anesthesia, the notion that the ideal life is a straight, predictable line, free of major bumps. Believing this seems wise, but it's the most efficient blow dealt to your inner flame. Mediocrity doesn't impose itself by force. It arrives with caresses. It disguises itself as sensibility, talking about stability and quality of life, as if boldness were a sin. It offers the seductive comfort of not disappointing anyone, and above all, of not disappointing yourself. After all, those who don't dream big don't fail big. The price? A lukewarm existence, perpetually below what your heart knows is possible. From an early age, our senses are trained to seek approval, not authenticity. We are conditioned to raise our hands only when we are sure of the answer. And that one seemingly harmless gesture produces adults who never risk asking big questions. We learn to measure every step. Don't stand out too much, don't be too loud, don't ruin the family photo. We grow fluent in the language of consensus. We collect diplomas, likes, certificates, but we unlearn the language of wonder, of awe, of what if. We become experts at hitting the brakes on our own potential to not disturb the collective march. The blow deepens in adolescence when market slogans replace heroic myths. Catalogues teach us to aspire to gadgets, not spiritual achievements.